I got a lot of respect for Scatterboo, man. He runs hard, and no matter how many times you hit him, he coming back. And I respect that out of running backs more than anything. Is like
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Saturday sit-down with the star linebacker for the New Orleans Saints, Demario Davis. Can't wait for you guys to hear this conversation. Obviously, those of you that are loyal, but we got some new folks all the time. These Saturday sit-downs are new this season. For the first time, we're not just 5 days a week. We are 6 days a week on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Monday, I give you my thoughts and takeaways from all the games on Sunday. Tuesday is the Monday game recap and power rankings. Wednesday, I make my picks for the week. Thursday and Friday is a double dose of the civilian GOAT, Greg Cosell. You said you wanted more Greg Cosell, so we got you more Greg Cosell. But I still wanted to be able to have other people on the show from time to time, or be able to interview folks like Demario Davis. So we added room with the Saturday sit down. Not really time sensitive. These are interviews you can listen to or watch youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL whenever you would like. Demario is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours.
The Big Show.
Man, there aren't many guys in the NFL that I respect more than Demario Davis for the New Orleans Saints for so many reasons. I have no idea how he's still doing what he's doing at his age, by the way. I've had a chance to talk with him in production meetings a couple times, including week one this week when we called that game against the Arizona Cardinals. Demario, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ross. Always good to talk with you, man.
Yeah, so I got a lot to get into with you, man. It's funny because I've asked you about your routine to get ready for games and that stuff. But I don't think I've ever asked you, because you get so geared up for the team you're playing. How did a guy as talented as you end up at Arkansas State in the first place, as opposed to like Ole Miss or Mississippi State or one of them?
That's a great story. Kind of takes me back. I think coming up, man, I was just a guy that always got in his own way. I felt like every time I take a step forward, I was taking 2 or 3 steps back, and it was just probably my own fault. I think my sophomore year, I really shined, and I was one of the top underclassmen in the state. But then I had some troubles. I got expelled from school, but I had a coach that let me back on the team. But I think he just kind of looked at me in a different way. Wasn't really trying to promote me as to be one of the leaders on the team in the face. And so my junior year, I kind of struggled a little bit. I just kind of was in the shadows. They didn't feature me as much. I was an offensive player. And in my senior year, I just switched to defense. I had a coach who just asked me, he's like, hey, I think it'll be better for you to come to defense, because they're not going to give you the ball. And maybe he had that inside scoop. And I went to defense, and I only played defense 1 year, so I don't know if I wasn't on a lot of people's radar. I wasn't going to camps and things like that. And I didn't really know anything about the college recruiting process. And, I think that there was some interest, but I never talked to any of those coaches to really know. And so when Arkansas State came and offered me what was my first scholarship, I didn't even know what a scholarship was, to be honest. I didn't even know how it worked. So they were like, hey, we're giving you a full ride. And I didn't know until I went home and told my mom that I had got a full ride scholarship, and she started crying, the significance of it. I was just like, oh, I didn't know you had to pay to go to college. So that's just kind of where I was. I didn't have anybody help me with the recruiting process to know anything like that. And so I was just giving the best I had.
Man, so many good things about that. I guess I love that you admit and talk about, obviously it's 20 years ago now, but that you would get in your own way. Is there anything, Demario, that anybody could have told you back then that you wouldn't have gotten in your own way? Because obviously now we talk about you and we're just amazed by your professionalism and everything. And
Yeah.
did you have to learn the hard way, or is there some advice you wish somebody had given you? Like what do you say now when you talk to eighth, ninth, 10th high school kids so they don't, have to learn things the hard way?
I think the two things that saved me was it was Jesus and the fact that somebody took the time to make sure that I got it. So that's what I think of value of a mentor. I don't think it was that it was not people who were trying to tell me the right thing. I just don't know if it was enough people who were, especially from a male standpoint, that was sticking around long enough for me to get it. And that's what I ended up getting in college in my team chaplain. He would pick me up, take me out to lunch. We would just talk. He would ask me hard questions, a lot of stuff Bible related, just about my spirituality and stuff like that. And I didn't know he was actually trying to win me over to Christ. I thought he was just forming a relationship, but he just took time. And over I think the course of a year and a half, he actually won me over. And I ended up surrendering my life to Christ. And so it was the fact that I ended up getting Christ and understanding that changed. I started to live for something that was greater than myself. I don't know if anybody would have told me anything, because for me, myself was front and center. And if it worked for me or made sense for me, that's what I was going to do. But when I started to live for something that was bigger than myself, I think that's when my perspective in life started to change. But it was the fact that he took time with me until there was a change, till there was a transformation. And I think that's the biggest thing when I try to give back with the young people, is like making sure that I'm showing up in a real way that's consistent. Because man, a lot of these young people have people who come in and out of their lives, for some for the right and some for the wrong reason, or many for the wrong reason. But it's about those who stick around and stay. That's ultimately that's going to be able to leave the biggest impression on them. And I think that's what helped me. And so I just like, if I would have had that maybe at an earlier age, it would have sped up the trajectory.
Wow. That is such an awesome story. Yeah, I know I've asked this before. Might have been a radio interview, maybe a production meeting. My recollection, though, Demario, is that your first few years with the Jets, kind of up and down. Talented, maybe inconsistent. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't remember when, but there was a time that um, it felt like your career was actually going the wrong way,
Yeah.
and then you totally flipped it. And I remember people talking about you. I'm like, really? Demario Davis, really? And they're like, yo,
Yeah.
no, really, watch him. And I'm amazed by that. What,
Yeah.
what, what changed and how?
So it is interesting. That's how I would describe the trajectory of my career. As it kind of was going one way, then it started to go down, and then it shifted. And so my first 4 years with New York was cool. I was drafted by Rex Ryan. He believed highly in me, and they had me playing outside, and I feel like I was more of a middle. I think I was just on a team with a bunch of veterans, and then it was almost like trying to drink through a water hose. It was just a fire hydrant. It just was a lot of information coming in. It was much more of a veteran team, and I don't think they were at a place where they were really trying to develop the young guys. You just kind of had to kind of catch up, and so coming from the Sun Belt, I didn't know it was a much more of a pro style game, not so much spread as it is now. So that was a learning curve for me. And I was very productive in my second year starting. I had over 100 tackles, year 2, 3, and 4. But it was just a lot of things about the game from an efficiency standpoint that I just didn't understand. And so I would make a lot of plays, but I also would get beat on a lot of plays. I would miss tackles in space. I just couldn't find the routes and know exactly where I was supposed to fit. And so it was a learning curve that was there. And I think when I got to they didn't re-sign me the first time with the Jets, and then I went to Cleveland, and they brought me in to be a leader. And we just had a really young team, and the weight of all that, I think I was just super stressed out. Not realizing why my career wasn't going at the level. And really, at the end of the first season in Cleveland, I was ready to retire. Like my body was shutting down on me. I think I just had so much stress, and I knew I could be good in the game, but it just wasn't happening. They started rotating my snaps in Cleveland. So I just started to pray and seek the Lord, like, man, God, I can't do this no more. If you want me to keep going, you're gonna have to do something. You got to shift my mind, you got to shift my body, and that really, I think after that prayer, a lot of stuff started changing. I got a new physical therapist who started helping me take care of my body and learn more about nutrition and just holistic care for my body, and more so, taking care of kind of like it's a race car that's always we're always working under the hood in between races. And I think I shifted my training that off season in a way that made football exciting again because I had a lot to learn. I feel like I could grow. And really by the time 2016, the end of that season, I came back in the off season. I feel like I was the player then that I am now. I had Greg Williams had just came, and they traded me back to New York, and the Browns didn't get a chance to see that player because it literally happened in the offseason. And so then I go back to the Jets, and I have one of my greatest statistic seasons. I think it was 130 some tackles, a whole bunch of PBUs, a whole bunch of sacks, and the biggest thing was I was much more of an efficient player. I wasn't getting beaten on the plays that were beating me at one time. And I tell everybody, like, that was a great year, me going back to the Jets. But if I would have stayed and played with Greg Williams, it would have been like 2 times that. And I have a lot of respect for him, and I had a lot of fun time in that brief stint that I was with him. And then from there, I played that year, and the Jets didn't re-sign me after that year, and that's how I ended up with the Saints, and I've been with the Saints ever since.
So the thing that blows my mind away is I played 7 years, didn't redshirt or anything in college, so I injured my neck and was done when I was 28 years old. But even just Demario, like working out or going out, there's a difference in your 30s than there is in your 20s. And so to see that you have made all these all pros in your 30s just blows my mind away. Do you not see a difference yet? Do you not feel a difference like the day after a game or recovery, or because I'm like amazed that you're able to do what you're able to do.
I feel better, you know. I try to explain to everybody that I'm 36, but I feel I I look 26 and I feel 21. And I think it's hard for people to understand. That's why I try to play in a way that I want them to look and be like, man, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this? Because I want them to really see and understand what I'm trying to explain to them. And it's not um, that I'm just this, 36-year-old linebacker that's just trying to survive and stay in the game as long as he can. It's like, no, I am playing some of the best football that I've ever played at this age. I'm getting better. And it's like, just look at the tape, turn it on. And I think that's what from an efficiency standpoint, that's what I'm constantly trying to do. And I do want people to ask that question, like, how are you doing it? Because I want it to be something that is uncommon.
Yeah, you know what I love too? You play for keeps, bro. Like I never really thought blocking people was fun. I was really trying to put people down. I mean, that's what I
Yeah,
enjoyed.
yeah,
I played defense my freshman year of college, then I got switched over. I love the physicality that you played with. You kind of went, I guess, viral this week for your conversation with Scadaboo, who, by the way, I love Scadaboo. I
yeah,
don't know, was that Granderson he got? I don't know who he got on a block on the edge, but I love that dude.
yeah.
Was that
Him.
Granderson or somebody else? Because Granderson's a bad dude. Like that's no joke.
Grando is a bad dude, but in this game, man, if you don't have your eyes in the right place, if you're looking in that backfield, anybody can catch you. And
Sometimes they get you. Sometimes
yeah,
they get you,
yeah,
bro.
I think that was Marshawn that said, "Oh, I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get you more times than I get got." Yeah, So I mean, it happens. That's part of the game. But I got a lot of respect for Scatterboo, man. He runs hard, and no matter how many times you hit him, he coming back. And I respect that out of running backs more than anything. Is like I always know what type of back I'm dealing with. after the first time I catch them. And when I catch them and they know I caught them, like what's gonna happen in our next interaction? That's how I know everything I need to know about you. And so you don't meet a lot of running backs that you catch that one time and they coming back for more smoke after that.
I love that. He was telling you, I got 5 yards. It's 5 yards.
Now he got dinged up. He got dinged up pretty good because he was calling 5 yards and it was only a 1 yard gain. That's how I know I stuck him pretty good. I was like, "Oh, you think that's 5 yards, buddy? Wait till you see the tape."
Hey, gosh, I love that. For me as a lineman, like I just love that he blocks like that. I mean, I love
Yeah,
how hard he runs, but that he actually blocks because there's a lot of running backs that don't want to do that.
yeah,
It's funny because you and I were talking before that Cardinals game. I love James Conner too. James Conner has that same. James Conner is going to come at you. I'm
yeah,
I'm sad he got hurt, but James is not. He runs like a 4.65, but he's going to give you everything he's got.
yeah. He's the same, man. We kind of had a little battle in that game as well. I caught him one time on the goal line, and he caught me. He caught me one time on the goal line. He caught like a little shovel pass, and I was out of position, and he chucked me on into the end zone. So it was one of those battles where it was like, we gonna have a few little run-ins, and it was fun.
Hey, you've been doing this a long time now. How happy were you for Spencer on Sunday to get his first win?
Oh man, listen, man, you got to get the first one. You got to get the first one, and that's when you really can get into your rhythm and you get that monkey off your back. Having being a young quarterback coming in and having to work with multiple offensive coordinators and multiple personnel units and have an O line that's been in front of you and that's been banged up. It's a lot, but it all kind of goes onto your narrative as a quarterback. Like people just try to, say, well, this quarterback hasn't won a game. And for him to get that first one, I think the same with Coach Kelly, an incredible coach. It's just the first one. You got to get the first one, and now you can write your story.
All right, so what is motivating you now? When we talked with you, you talked about maybe playing 3 more years. You said, as long as you're still playing at this high of a level, like I said earlier, I'm in awe of any guy. Like that game you guys went against the Cardinals, we talked to Calais too. Like you guys, when people ask me like the guys I respect or look up to the most, it's not like the fancy skill guys or whatever. Anybody in the front seven that tees it up for 10 plus years, 100 plus games, 150, like I'm in awe of those guys. What motivates you now and how long do you think you're going to keep this thing rolling?
Man, it's really a God story. I try to tell everybody that I'm on His time. I try to live in a way where it's like when people really ask me like how, I'm like it's not me. It's Him operating through me. But I think that when I leave the game, I play in such a way that my teammates, fans, anybody that's watching me, man, I hope that they see is like this is someone who maximized their opportunity. They did everything that they could to get the most. I think from the time I came in, I've tried to give everything I could from the way I take care of my body to the way I watch film. I didn't did everything perfect, but I've tried to maximize the moment. I tried to maximize the opportunity, not taking it for granted, and like show people this is what happens when you give everything that you have to something. This is what could be. I mean, I grew up in a small town. I wasn't the most looked at player coming out. I'm a two-star, if that. Coming from a relatively unknown high school. Nobody's looking, necessarily at Brandon High School at that time to be this school of all these football players coming out. Ended up going to Arkansas State. I didn't know who Arkansas State was at the time when I came out of college. So nobody was looking for me from that regard. Was fortunate enough to get a chance to become a third round draft pick. But, the first team that I played for, they didn't re-sign me. The second team I played for, they traded me back to the team that I was on. That team didn't re-sign me. But I think I just continued to show up. And now to be in a conversation of all these different things, for me, it's about that is like this is a representation of somebody who's committed, who's disciplined themselves to say, I want to maximize everything that I have. When I was growing up, like I tell the story about like I wasn't the first kid to get picked. I was the last kid to be picked. Now I was hanging with an older group, but nobody wanted me on their team. We played pickup football, pickup basketball. Nobody wanted me. So I wasn't one of the top athletes. I was the one that was like last to be picked. But now in retrospect, I look at it and it's just like, man, if you set your mind to something and you discipline yourself, you can get the max out of it. And that's what I am now. Like I'm just maximizing the moment. Like if there's still stuff that can be achieved inside the game, inside my career, I want to achieve it because that's how I live. I want to maximize the moments that I have. I want to live that in a way that it's a reflection for my kids to see. For anyone that's coming behind me that's dreaming and thinks things are possible, I want to live in an inspirational way. That man, when you have your moment, it's just about being ready and maximizing it. And if there's more to be got, get it.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about you is you're maximizing stuff off the field as well. In fact, I've heard about the Devoted Dreamers Foundation, which
Mm-hmm.
is, supporting local small businesses, micro grants. So $1,000 awarded to the Baldwin and Company, independent black-owned bookstore in New Orleans. That's awesome, man. Tell me a little bit more about that, or what you've got going off the field.
Yeah, man. So Devoted Dreamers, initially established by me and my wife in 2013, was created for equipping the next generation of leaders spiritually, mentally, and physically. And so what our thing was, we wanted to be mentors to make sure that all the young people from all different backgrounds have the resources that they need to achieve their dreams. And it kind of goes back to what I was telling you about. When somebody came into my life and was consistent, all they did was pour the resources and the time and the energy and commitment into a dream that I already had inside of me. And so all these young people have dreams. How do we help them reach them? And so we do that with summer camps. We do it with after school programs. We do it with weekend conferences. We even in conversations about doing it year long in a school type setting in a few different cities. And so that's happening in real time, but also a big part of what we do is invest in the communities that we serve in or that we work in. And so whether we've been in New York or New Orleans now, it's about investing in the community. And so we do dinner with the Davises where we go and just kind of feed different communities. And it could be 500 to 1,000 people outside. My wife run the food truck. We got music,
Wow.
just serving people. That could be, we did 100 beds for the Covenant House, which is a youth shelter. We've remodeled homes for people who serve the city. So we do a lot of different projects. Super Bowl, we did so much just, helping some of our first responders that were in on Bourbon Street that night of the tragic accident. And so we do a lot of things as far as serving the city. And so our micro business grants are part of that. And so we kind of have an initiative for the season, which is Fueling Dreams. And so we have a leadership program going on, and we have one that's investing in small businesses that we've had a chance to partner with Ochsner, our one of our major hospitals here, to do. And so it's really just about serving people, humans helping humans. That's how we look at it.
It's fantastic. Really appreciate the time. Love calling your games. Love watching you play. Love getting a chance to talk with you. Really appreciate the time. Keep it rolling. Stay healthy. And much success the rest of the year. Thank you so much, Demario.
Hey, thank you, Ross. You guys be blessed. Take care.
All right, let's dive into the news. But first, so I don't have a game this upcoming weekend other than Monday Night Football Westwood 1 on the radio. The Bears at the Commanders, which means I am going to the Penn State game, taking my family, and I got tickets on the Game Time app. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing it right now. There's a bunch of tickets available, and it's so easy to see the view from the seat. If you guys don't have the Game Time app on your phone and you don't at least look in your city or where you live to see what events there are, you're doing it wrong. Take the guesswork out of buying any tickets including NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Ross for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code ROSS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Tuck's Takes.
Man, I love that guy. It's funny, doing production meetings, you can understand the guys that play into their 30s. It's the mindset, it's the approach, it's how they carry themselves. It's super, super impressive. So love that we got the chance to talk to Demario. By the way, I have not gotten an email on this show in a long time. Chris in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, he just asked me about offensive linemen turning their head or pointing forward. They allow that, Chris, as long as it's not simulating the start of a play. So he's talking about specifically the Super Bowl, the right guard for the Eagles, looking at Hurts with his head up, turn, then pointing forward. That's the deal there. You're allowed to point. You're allowed to turn your head. They point now for silent cadence, but you're not allowed to move abruptly or simulate the start of a play. Good question. Love it. What a fun week. Enjoy the college football today. I'll be tailgating at Penn State with my family. I never get to do that. Then Sunday, I'm locked in on the red zone all day. Monday night, I'm in the booth for the Commanders and the Bears. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. You know it's a passion of mine. Myfrontpagestory.com. It's a win-win. You get the best gift for a loved one, and you get whatever you want from me if you send me an email, ross@rosstucker.com. Backofficescheduler.com, humannyc.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.